Welcome back to Passport to Possibility. Today we're looking at EU citizenship by descent, and while it isn't limited to just four countries, in this video we're going to compare Ireland, Italy, Poland and Hungary, because they are some of the most popular and frequently asked about programs, and they were the focus of Jennifer's recent 4-part newsletter series on EU ancestry. Now, even if your roots are in another part of Europe, the way these four work, documents, timelines and common pitfalls can still give you a useful sense of how EU ancestry cases are approached in practice. I'm here with citizenship lawyer Jennifer to walk through these examples and help you think about where your own family story might fit. Let's get into it. Jennifer, you've done videos on Ireland, Italy and other countries, plus your 4-part newsletter series. Who's this comparison really for?
So it's for people who know or suspect that they have Irish, Italian, Polish or Hungarian citizenship through Ancestry and want to see which route is realistic, not just theoretical. And importantly, it's also useful for people who have roots elsewhere in Europe, because the themes we'll discuss, documents, proof of ancestry and procedural complexity, are very similar across many EU countries.
So this is aimed at anyone exploring EU citizenship by descent. We're using Ireland, Italy, Poland and Hungary as examples from your newsletter series. But remembering that we're just looking at these four in this video. Similar principles and hurdles do appear in other European ancestry cases too. Could you share a one-sentence snapshot of each Irish, Italian, Polish and Hungarian citizenship by descent?
So yeah, sure. So Irish is often one of the more straightforward routes when the link is through a parent or a grandparent, but older generations can still be more complex when it comes to Irish citizenship. And then Italian is powerful but very detail-oriented, so small inconsistencies in record can create delays without careful preparation. And then Polish citizenship also often hinges on proving citizenship after 1920 and handling wartime gaps and changes with precision. And then Hungarian is shaped by shifting borders and geography, and history matters not a lot in determining who actually qualifies. So again, while each of these has its own rules and laws, many other EU ancestry programs also turn on the same trio, whether clear lineage can be demonstrated, accurate records, and alignment with current legal criteria.
Mm-hmm. So in short, Ireland can feel more direct. Italy and Poland demand meticulous documentation, and Hungary adds a layer of historical geography on that. And remembering that we're just focusing on these four from your newsletter viewers of roots in, say, Germany or Portugal or elsewhere will still recognize the pattern. You need a solid paper trail and a clean legal story. So when people ask you which is easiest or fastest, how do you compare these four in terms of documents, complexity, and timelines?
Yeah, good question. So there isn't a single easy program. It depends heavily on each family's records. Ireland can be efficient if the chain is clear, while Italy and Poland often require collecting records from several countries and complying with newer procedural rules that are currently in place. And then Hungary usually means more historic research is involved because of border changes and possible eligibility in neighboring countries. And the type of historical nuances can arise in other parts of Europe as well. So it really depends.
So the bottleneck isn't just which country you're dealing with, it's how good your paperwork is and how these documents line up with modern rules. And to emphasize again, we're using these four examples from your newsletter. Yeah. But similar document-heavy realities and timelines apply in many other EU descent programs too. Beyond law and paperwork, how do lifestyle, language, and long-term plans influence which route people take?
Yeah, so it really depends on your family history and ancestry, so it's not necessarily a choice, but sometimes people have multiple citizenship routes that they can pursue. So many families choose based on where they actually see themselves or their children studying, working, or retiring, and not just where they could qualify in theory. So the same thought process applies outside of these four countries, whether someone feels more drawn to, for example, Ireland or Italy if they're entitled to both, or to a completely different EU country where they have roots.
So you're not just asking, can we technically get citizenship here? But is this where we'd realistically build a chapter of life? And again, while we're spotlighting these 4 from your EU Ancestry series, that lifestyle plus law equation is the same if your heritage points you to another EU nation. In some of your earlier videos, you've mentioned that not everyone ultimately qualifies by descent, obviously. When the answer is no or not now, in these 4 countries, what paths do people typically look at next?
Yeah, so sometimes documents are missing or citizenship was lost or the rules and laws are too strict, so Ancestry is not a viable path in a particular country, even if the family story is strong. So in those cases, people often look at alternative EU Ancestry routes where they have a different branch or heritage, or at investment-based options and residencies that may be a better legal fit for them.
Right, so if one Ancestry door closes in Ireland, Italy, Poland or Hungary, it doesn't automatically mean Europe is off the table. Remember, we're using these 4 from your newsletter as examples. Often there are other European routes or entirely different legal paths that can still support someone's broader goals. If you're wondering where your own family story might fit into these 4 routes, a practical next step is to complete the family tree template Jennifer's team uses and have them review your situation, whether your roots are in these countries we've highlighted today or elsewhere in Europe. You can also read the 4-part series, Ancestry series, on Ireland, Italy, Poland and Hungary, and then watch Jennifer's individual videos on each of those countries, where she goes into more depth on the rules, documents and timelines, always with the reminder that similar principles often apply in other EU nations as well. All the links and contact details are in the description. Thank you again, Jennifer.
Thank you so much, Kevin.
And until next time, we'll see you again.
All the best.